Good afternoon, everybody, and a massive welcome to Google Digital Garage this afternoon. We're about to start our training session on how to find your career goals, or find your career goals as it's officially titled. Welcome along, and thank you so much for joining us on this afternoon, almost into the evening. I hope you've had a good day and a good week so far. We're hopefully going to make it a little bit better for you, depending on why you're here today. But hopefully it is, maybe you're in a decision-making process, maybe you just want to have a look at some options that might be available to you. So you've definitely come to the right place. Now, my name is Glenn. I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. I'm an experienced digital skills trainer and also have quite a background in management, consultancy, helping identifying opportunities for business to grow, for individuals to grow. I've managed a lot of staff in my time, and helping people to develop their career goals and work towards things they'd like to achieve is always a great thing. So hopefully I can add a bit of value to this session this afternoon. Now, it's not just me. Google Digital Garage is always a team effort, so we have the wonderful Sarah in the chat. Have a look on YouTube. It will be over to the right or underneath, depending on the device that you're using, and you're going to see Sarah B with a little blue spanner by the side of her name. Sarah's an excellent Google Digital Garage coach and trainer herself. So please do, throughout this session, and I can't emphasize this enough due to the nature of this particular session, this Find Your Career Goals, is get involved. There's going to be a number of exercises that we're going to be running through during this module. There's going to be quite a few questions we're going to ask, and we want your answers. We'd love your answers. We'd love to know what's going on. And it really, really does help us to comment. It really does help us to make sure that we're giving you the best that we certainly can out of this session. So talk to Sarah. I can see quite a few of you actually have already said hello. So I think I'll just give a couple of shout outs. Martin Welker. You're Martin, and you're bringing some of your students with you. So welcome to you and to some of Martin's students. Who are the students of Martin? Please do pop in and say hello and let us know you're one of Martin's students. But thank you for coming along. We've got, and you're in Germany, Frankfurt. Fantastic. Been there myself, lovely place. We've got Ali Habib, welcome to you. We've got Mohit Makija, welcome to you. Hope I pronounced that correctly for you today. And Fremel Sheth, good afternoon to you as well. Absolute pleasure to have you all here. Now, before we do actually get started, just run through a bit of housekeeping. I did mention that there is, we've got Unique Nihal. Yo to you too as well, Unique. Thanks for coming along this afternoon. So we're on YouTube. We're on YouTube Live. So this is a live session. One of the best ways that you can make use of this is to get involved in the chat. Hello, Bilal Burjaz. Welcome to you from the Lebanon. Welcome to Lebanon as well. Great international audience this afternoon. So get involved with the chat. If you can't see the chat, it might mean you need to sign into your YouTube account. It might mean that you might need to create a YouTube account. Either way, that's minimal clicks, not too much to do to actually create that. And one of the lovely things about having a YouTube account is that you are then able to watch things on history. So anything that you do watch, if you leave it halfway, if you have to go and do something, you can always come back, pick up on your history items and pick up from exactly where you left off. So there's lots more features on YouTube, obviously, but that's a really nice one for sessions such as these. This session will remain live for the next 24 hours or so. So if you need to revisit any of the areas or perhaps even rerun some of the exercises with friends or family, because it's a really useful session, it's a really reflective session, it really can start to bring you some insights about yourself, then you have the opportunity to do that in the next 24 hours or so. Now, we will be pausing throughout the session. If you've got any questions as we go, pop them into chat. Sarah's going to answer most of those for you, but she can also pass a few on to me, which we can then answer in the live pauses for questions that we have, which are sort of scattered throughout the session. Now, we're running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of sessions. Now, if you're looking to establish your career goals, then maybe the CV sessions that we have might be useful to you too. If you go to our website, that's g.co/digital garage, you can sign up for as many of those sessions as you want. You know, if you've got an online presence, whether you're an individual or a business, it's all about brand. And if you're an individual, self-branding. So look at some of our digital marketing sessions too, to help you establish a really positive presence online and get the most from your online presence too. So have a look at the website. There is also, on that basis, a fantastic no-cost course called The Fundamentals of Digital Marketing as well. Now on that, it's a 40-hour video learning course. When you've completed and passed the assessments for that, you can then download a certification that's endorsed by the Open University. That looks really great on the CV we were talking about before, or perhaps on your LinkedIn profile if you've got one. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So let's get started now. I'm just going to pick up my trusty clicker and let's get underway. So what we're doing today, okay, we're going to be doing quite a reflective session, as I say. We're going to be looking at ourselves, which is quite different from a lot of the Google Digital Garage sessions that we run. So we'll be looking at ourselves. We're going to be identifying our skills and our strengths. We're going to be thinking about what other people may also think of us and our skills and our strengths, and helping us to gain a bit of a better picture of ourselves. That is why this session is important, and that is why we need to get you involved in the chat, because we'd love to have your answers as well. So please bear that in mind. Then at the end, the payoff hopefully is going to be a new direction maybe, or your brain thinking of, wow, I could go and do that now because of the skills and the strengths that I've identified. So bear that in mind, and let's make this as productive as we can for each other as we work our way through. Now, we do have another offering. I mentioned to you about the other webinars that are available. I've mentioned to you about some of the courses that are available on the Google Digital Garage site. But you can also consider these. Have a look to see if you're eligible. If you're looking to improve your job ready skill set, then you have the potential, if you're in the UK, to sign up for Google Career Certificates. They're at goo.gle/Career Cert UK. Go and have a look at your eligibility. We're offering courses in high demand career areas like IT support, project management, data analytics, UX design, and now there's a newer one as well, which is based on digital marketing and e-commerce. So some fantastic skills. Sign up, goo.gle/Career Cert UK, and we look forward to having you on those courses as well. There's a big push for these types of qualifications, so if they're appealing to you, if it's the type of career move you're looking to make, this could be perfectly timed for you to get ahead. All right, let's get into the session now, and there's a question for you. Okay, so let's get into the mindset now of thinking about us, thinking about our experience, thinking about how we've got on previously. So think back to when you were most fulfilled. Fulfilled is the key word there, by a job, volunteering activity, or a task. It can be any time in the past or present. Anything that you've done in a work vein, or maybe at college, at school, something that you just really enjoyed doing, that you felt really used the skills and strengths that you had in a positive way, that you walked away afterwards and thought that was really enjoyable. So please do pop those into the chat for me. I'm a little bit ahead of you in terms of time, not much, but a little bit. So I'm going to wait in between some of these slides so we do get some good answers through that we can work on, that we can look at. Now, think about when you were fulfilled by a job. What were you doing? What was happening around you? What was the environment like? What were all of the things that helped to contribute to make that a good experience? If I go back, I mean, the job I'm doing now would be a really good example. I do feel very fulfilled in delivering training. I do feel fulfilled in talking to people, lending help and assistance where I possibly can, and having interactions. I really, really enjoy that. I always have done. Management was another thing, you know, leading individuals, helping them to better themselves. Those gave me good fulfillment during the day. Those helped me to leave at the end of the day and think, I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So please do share those. And again, I'm going to ask Sarah if she wouldn't mind sharing her own experience as we go. So I am going to move on and go to the next slide now. And I'll wait for some of those answers. Oh, there we go. Nidhi Kala. I felt good by managing others. Again, okay, great. So leadership. So maybe that's one of your things, one of your core things that you enjoy. Thank you for that. And we'll wait for a couple more responses to come in. The reason we're asking these questions is that 3 out of 10 workers in the UK do not believe they have good prospects for career development. And that's a statistic we'd like to change. That's a shame, isn't it? Because I think if we were to undertake some of these types of exercises, maybe we could learn a bit about ourselves, and maybe we could then help ourselves to better and further our career. Now, because we're also thinking about the fact that 1/3 of our lives is spent at work, so can we afford to fall into that type of statistic? And I believe the answer to that is no. Okay, Martin, some years you worked for a small radio station. Wonderful. Okay, good. Again, communication there, broadcasting. And, if you've got some students now, perhaps you're enjoying that job because you broadcast to your students in a slightly different way. And Hassan has said, I love communicating. Okay, so good. So we're now establishing some of the things that we like doing, which fits perfectly into our exercise. So this is where we need a pen and paper or a note-taking device. But pen and paper is better because you can draw this as you go. So grab a pen and paper, and firstly, we're going to be starting to put together a thing called a Venn diagram, and this is the first part of that Venn diagram. We're going to be capturing, in the blue circle, something that we enjoy doing. Okay, so we're going to be developing 3 elements to a job that we find fulfilling. So firstly, it's something that you enjoy doing. So please do have a look at that. Pen and paper, draw out that first circle. So first step, something that you enjoy doing. Then we're going to start to consider something that we're good at as well. So again, useful if we're thinking about future career moves, that we're going to move into something that we enjoy doing, but it's going to be useful if we're quite good at it too, or that we have a path to make ourselves better in the skill set required. We want it to play to our strengths, really. So you can see there's an overlapping area. So this should start to become a bit clearer. We need to think firstly about something that we enjoy doing. So mine could be tech, mine could be training, mine could be helping others to achieve something that I'm good at. Well, I'm not a bad communicator, I'm not amazing, but I'm pretty good. And I always enjoy talking to people, and I'm also a good listener. So maybe within that sense, training is a good job for me because it's something that I'm good at, and I can employ some of the important elements to help me be a decent trainer. Now, the third element is really important too after this. The third part of the Venn diagram in the red is people, something that people are going to value. So when we're thinking about what we can do, we think about something that we enjoy doing. Then we think about something that we're good at as well. Then, would people buy this service, skill from us in the future? We might be in a job now that we really enjoy. We might be in a job now that we don't quite enjoy quite so much. And we've got another exercise coming up, which is going to help us to understand that a little bit better and to understand how fulfilled we actually are by the things that we're doing at the moment. I can just see it. Sorry, it just caught my eye there. Hassan, what if we love doing something but we're not good at it? You have the opportunity to get better at it. If you really think it could be your calling or your vocation, then maybe you can do some training to get better at it. Perseverance and dedication could well be the key there. But thank you. That's a great question. And again, sorry, that just caught my eye at the corner of my eye. Really important question. So we've written down now something we enjoy doing, something we're good at, and something that people value. This is our magic chart. This is our magic Venn diagram. The sweet spot where something you enjoy doing, something you're good at, and something people value is right in the middle there, where the red, the blue, and the green intersect. That's our goal. That's something we're going to hopefully help ourselves to identify. So you can have a look here. And again, if you want to start putting some of those things in, again, you could have a skilled hobby. Something people underestimate the impact of hobbies. Is that hobby something you could take forward into a role or career later because it's something you enjoy, something you're really good at, and something that people would value as well? You can also see that if it's something that you're good at, but it's not for you, it's not something you'd want to do day to day, that could become a boring job. So we don't necessarily want to fulfill that or follow that through. Now, if it's something that you enjoy doing, it could be a low skill job. Again, is that going to take you down the road that you'd like to go? So we're looking for that sweet spot, really. We want to make sure that If it is a boring job or a low skill job, then essentially we come to the decision maybe it's not for us and we want to find something fulfilling. The key word throughout this whole presentation, I think, is to do with being fulfilled overall. We want happy lives, and we spend so much time at work. Having something useful to do that ticks all of these boxes has surely got to be of great value to us. So again, hopefully you've had a bit of time to write down and to copy this diagram and have the other side of your piece of paper ready for an exercise coming up. Now, we're going to be looking at the top motivator at work. So I'm going to take money out of the equation for you. We know we need money. That's absolutely key and vital to understand that. We need to, be able to eat. We need shelter. We need to be able to, feed ourselves. We need to be able to drink water. We need all of the vital things to help keep us alive. But on the other side of that, when we're at work, what is the thing when we do leave the workplace that makes us feel happy, that gives us that sense of fulfillment? So what's your top motivator at work? Please do put this into the chat for me. I'm going to hang on again for a couple of minutes, or a minute possibly, just to see what comes through. So we've got to take money out of this for really, really good reason. We're going to be focusing on other things than money for the rest of this session. So if we take money out, what we're looking at is the things that make us smile, the things that make us happy, the things that make us fulfilled. So please do pop your answers into the chat for me. I'm going to just hang on just for a second, just to see if anything is going to come through before I do reveal the answer. Okay, what I'm going to do for the purposes of time, and again, still pop your answers in, whether they concur with this or not, because again, it's interesting to understand what's important to you, part of the overall need for this module and this exercise is to understand what is important to you. But there you go, recognition of work. Recognition of work is utterly vital. It seems to be the thing that we want. We want to be told we've done a good job. We want to be told that we've done well. We want to be told that we're doing our jobs well, and that people have noticed that. Rather than us knowing perhaps that we've done a good job, we need to kind of be told it, I think, for us to understand that we're in people's good books, that we've done what we've needed and we've helped them. We've made them happy by doing what we do and what we do well. So we're going to move into the first pause for questions. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what's come in. We've got a comment there from Hassan. Enjoying what I'm working on with being able to add my touch to my work. Always there is a chance to improve. 100%, really great comment. Always a chance to improve. So that's really, really important too. Unique, you've asked, Unique Nihal, will this course help find a career? It will. It's not a job searching exercise, but it is a finding out what we love type exercise, and thus then being able to really direct our efforts towards finding something that's going to help us improve, help us feel fulfilled. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes. You do like project management, I can see there. You have a master's in physiotherapy. Are they certificates enough to get a new job? Nothing's probably enough to get a new job on their own, but if you fit them in together with your enthusiasm, your training, the things that you're trying to achieve, and set yourself goals, then all of those things will then work together to help you find the role that you're after. So again, I hope that answers your question. So, okay. We got a comment coming from Madhup Kushal. I think the satisfaction after completing a task gives me the motivation to do another. Okay, so you're satisfied. You finished the task. You can see the output. It makes you happy. Fantastic. That's what we need. Those types of comments are really positive and they help us to grow. Okay, thank you for your questions. We are going to have some more questions further on in the module, so I'll continue for now. So now we're going to be looking at something that we enjoy doing, and here's the first exercise. So again, the other side of your piece of paper for these. Now we want to pick out, I'm going to bring up a list of words on the next screen. Pick out the words or phrases for things that you enjoy doing. And there they go, there's 8 examples there. Pick out 1, pick out 3, pick out 5, pick out 8. Pick out as many as you like. And again, please do pop your answers into chat. So for my own examples, I do love, again, having been a manager, I do love organising people. I do love helping others to fulfil their own goals. I like having ideas. It's good to think on your feet and think around a challenge and think, what's the solution? So I like providing solutions. What else we got there? Work-life balance is quite important too. I think that lockdown has helped us to understand that work-life balance is a key factor in our lives. We want to have enough time for our own pursuits, but enough time to do the work that we need to do well. Being an expert is nice. I wouldn't like to say that I was an expert in anything particularly, but hopefully I'm getting close to it in a few areas. Again, that continual development, that continual progression. So pick out some of those things for me, pop them into chat if you wouldn't mind. As I say, it could be 1, 3, 5 or 8 of those. Doesn't really matter at all, because in the next part of this exercise, we want you to actually rank them. We want you to rank out of those 8, what are your top 3? So I'm going to put the words back up on the screen. So out of the ones that you've chosen, which are the most important to you? Give us your top 3. So please let us have your top 3 if you wouldn't mind. So out of the ones that I enjoyed, I'm going to rank mine as organising people is going to be number 1. Helping others is going to be number 2. And solving problems is going to be number 3. So that's going to be organising people, helping others, and solving problems. Yeah, it's tricky. Having ideas is always a good one too. But I'll go for those 3. So please do pop yours into chat. Sarah, what are your top 3? I'd love to know out of those which ones really appeal to you the most as well. And again, there we go. Martin Welker, 532. Okay, Martin. We've got Nidhi Kala, organising people, solving problems, and work-life balance. So Martin, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, work-life balance, 3, helping others, and then having ideas. Fantastic. Thank you, Martin. There you go. Those are the important ones to you. So we've got Nidhi Kala, organising people, solving problems, and work-life balance. Okay, brilliant. Good answers. Again, there's no right or wrong answer to this, by the way. It's what are your preferences. That's the important part, I think. So thank you. Keep them coming, and I'll pick up on a few more of those as we go, because there's still another part of this exercise to go. Oh, here we go. Hassan, helping others, work-life balance, and having ideas. Excellent. Bilal Burjaz, work-life balance, helping others, having ideas. Okay, there's a lot of ideas coming up here. Good. We're thinkers. We want to have ideas. We want to change things. We want to improve things. Some really great skills, some really great overall ways for us to be. Brilliant. As I say, Dieppe, quite hard to rank these things. Yeah, this is a reflective exercise. So if you're not sure now, note down all of those 8 ideas, concepts. Come back to it later. Keep this exercise so that you can do it again and again and again. And there's another part coming up a bit later on which will help you to do that as well. So fantastic input from everybody so far. Now we want to further this exercise. So pick out the phrases that are describing what you're doing now. Can you see where we're going? So now we want you to pick out the things in that list that you're doing now against your ideal. How many of them match up? So in the things, so you've told us your ideal 3. So for example, we had Martin, or we had Bilal with work-life balance, helping others, and having ideas. So Bilal, in what you're doing now, do you have work-life balance? Are you able to help others, and are you able to have ideas and use them? We want to match out of our top 3. How many of those 3 are we using in our activities, in our roles, in our jobs right now? Because we want to see how many of those we're fulfilling. So again, I'll give you a second to do that. Manoshi, you've come in with 4, 5, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's working independently, work-life balance, and solving problems. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So now think about how your lists match. You've got your top 3, and then how many of those are you fulfilling now? Because that could be a key as to whether you're in the right role for you now, or whether you might want to consider working towards something else that you enjoy doing, that you're good at, and that people might value as well. Excellent. So think about the differences between your current list and your ideal list. How many of them match up? How is that working for you so far? So while you do that, and again, pop all of this into chat for us, we'd love to see what's going on and how this is working through and the reflections that this is giving you. Let's go for a second pause for questions. I'm just going to have a look to see what's come in and to understand if there's anything that I can help you with at this time. So let's have a look. Okay, so Hassan, how can we keep that strong motivation we got in a certain moment consistent? Excellent, excellent question. Okay, so that's going to come down to mindset. That's going to come down to obviously your own psychology, how you're feeling with your confidence at any given time. What I would say is it's almost that concept, isn't it, of if I could just bottle that, I would do, so that I could come back to it again and again and again. I think it's in terms of the consistency, is to remember how important is this to you. We can sometimes get a bit bogged down in our day to day, and days pass really quickly. Time flies, as they say. All of those cliches, but they're true. And that can help us to perhaps lose momentum or get distracted. Maybe at the beginning or at the end of every day, you want to remind yourself of your goals, of what you want to achieve, of the things that it's going to take you to get there. So maybe that is more training. Maybe that is just being able to focus or dedicate a bit of time to that pursuit every single day. But don't let yourself go off the boil if you possibly can. That's very much about discipline. And setting yourself some type of routine in a way as well. Our brain really adapts well to routines once they're set. I think it takes about 7 days-ish for us to set a new routine for our brain to recognize it as being something consistent going on. So maybe that is looking at a job page on a particular day. Maybe that is taking part of our new training course on a daily basis or every other day, whatever we can fit into our already busy time schedule. So thank you. That's a very, very important question, and one which I hope I've given you a few ideas to help you to move through that. So we've done quite a lot of work already, so let's be pleased with ourselves. Again, keep those pieces of paper to hand. You might want to come back to them, do this exercise again at a later point. Now, the next question that we are going to be looking at is a slightly harder one. Slightly harder for a lot of us. Certainly is a slightly harder question for me. And I'd be very interested to know if this is something that you find difficult doing as well. And that is about really helping us recognize what it is that we're actually good at. Sometimes we're just not brilliant at recognizing perhaps our own skill set in the first place. So this is the second part of your Venn diagram, the green circle, something that we're good at. Now we've got a couple of exercises and a couple of examples that we need to run through here to make this as clear as we can. So we're running through a thing now that's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a scientific methodology. You can look this up online. I would ask Sarah if she wouldn't mind if she can find a quick link or a reference link to Dunning-Kruger for your research. Dunning-Kruger effect helps us to understand how we influence our perception of our own strengths. As to, sometimes our individual perceptions of our own strengths are not reflected in our actual abilities, one way or the other. You might think that as we get better at something, our feelings about how well we do it will increase at the same rate, but that's not necessarily always the case because of that keyword confidence. So if you've heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect or used something or been involved with it before, let us again know in the chat. That's going to be really, really useful. Dunning-Kruger describes how humans are pretty bad, really, at knowing their own strengths and their weaknesses and then taking the appropriate steps to turn those around. So Dunning-Kruger looked at how our perception of abilities change as we gain more experience. That practice thing. Experience is really, really key. So step one, as you can see on the slide there on the screen, is when we're starting out with something completely new. At this point, we are no good at it, really, and we know it. So if you have a look at that, this is about singing and karaoke and people's abilities. Any good singers in the crowd? Just let us know if you are a good singer. Be interesting to know as well. So we can see that on the graph, as we start something new, we've got very low confidence and we've got very low competence. We're not very good at it at the same time. So once we actually get going and we realize that it's something that we can enjoy, sometimes our confidence levels can get artificially boosted a little bit. But we kind of just need to recognize we're just starting out. We might have a certain strength or a certain skill in what we're trying to do, but we know that improvement is utterly, utterly vital. So, on that basis, it's about us being realistic with ourselves and being as objective as we can with ourselves. Again, being objective with ourselves is not one of the easiest things to do sometimes. It's almost about us looking in on ourselves. And again, that's a skill we need to practice. So when we start out on something, our confidence is probably quite low, our competence is quite low. Then, when we've learned a little bit more, suddenly we might think we're pop stars. Something we might start to think we're a lot better at this thing than we necessarily actually are. You know, we might have learnt one chord change perhaps on a guitar. We might have just improved a little bit. But what that can do sometimes is it makes our confidence spike. So you can see on the graph there now that although our competence, so we're still not very good at what it is we're actually doing, which in this case is singing, but our confidence goes through the roof. We've sung a good song and suddenly we're probably going to be on Britain's Got Talent, or we're going to be in the pop charts with a #1. But in reality, we don't yet really know enough, and we should recognise that there probably is a lot more to learn. So the Dunning-Kruger effect here explains that people who are in the lower areas of ability, who aren't very good, can overestimate their abilities. So again, that's kind of take it slow, practice, 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 get the opinions of others, that always really helps, and slowly build yourself up. This does actually fall into the question that we had about what if you enjoy something but you're not really good at it. It means that you need to practice and do more of it and learn more about it. So now, okay, suddenly we're getting better. But sometimes there, so you can see on there now, our confidence has come back to a much more reasonable level. So we're pretty average. We're getting better at what we're trying to do. Our confidence then kind of sinks a little bit, but realistically, because we are understanding there's a lot of work to put in and that there are others out there, we've done our research, we've looked online perhaps, that are a lot better at this than we are. That's a good place to be. I think it helps us to keep things real, it helps us to keep things realistic, and it helps us to then build in some practice time, some training time, some time to really refine our skills. So when we're actually getting good at something, we can actually tell ourselves we're not that brilliant. So again, keep it balanced, keep it in perspective. People who are pretty good at something tend to think it's no big deal or that they aren't all that good. Now, the importance of that statement for me during this session is that there may well be a hobby that you have, a skilled hobby. There may well be something that you do every day that you take for granted, which could actually possibly, with some dedication, a bit of time, be turned into a new career for you. It's something you enjoy, it's something that you're good at, and it's something that people might value. So thus, it could be something you've done for years, it could be something you've done for months, but it just generally feels right and feels good. Maybe that is something you could consider moving into as your next career move. So we've got our average competence, we've got our average confidence. So what happens next? For all of our practice, we've now become really good at this thing. So now we can see that we're really good at singing. We are an expert. We have moved into the expert category. And that helps our confidence go straight back up the scale as well, because we know we've worked hard, we know we've studied hard, we know we've practiced hard, and we know that we are now better than a lot of other people at what it is that we're doing. All of this then helps us to understand our own strengths. And as I've hinted at a few times throughout the module, sometimes talking to other people and asking them what they think we're good at is a good way to go. So we've got an exercise coming up which is going to help us to do exactly that. So we know that it can be difficult to recognise our own abilities. So what's a good way for us to get around that and for us to be as objective as we possibly can? The answer to that question is to ask other people. So this next exercise, again, write this down. You need to pick 3 people who know you well. 3 people that know you well. Friends, colleagues, Family, if your family can be objective and, constructively critical with you. Some families just think that, that their sons and daughters, etc., are just amazing at everything. So that might not be the most constructive input you can get. But if you feel that they can say, I think you're good at that, but not so good at that, maybe they are a good set of people to ask as well. So 3 people that know you well: a friend, a neighbour, someone at work, etc. Identify these people in your mind, keep them in mind for this. So if you were going to be talking about yourself from the perspective of another, maybe for those 3 people that you've just identified, now start to think about what people come to you for. What advice do people ask you for? Is it in a certain theme? What do people ask for your help with? As an example, for the 3 areas we've got on the screen there. So if I was doing this exercise for me, then thinking again as objectively as I can, one of my friends, so I'll do my friend Paul. I always ask Glenn for help with fixing my computer. So Glenn, XXXXX, Glenn knows a lot about computers and how to make them run smoothly. You can always ask Glenn to show me how to avoid breaking my computer again. Although he has come back a number of times with the same issue, so perhaps I'm not teaching as well as I could. But nonetheless, a few of my friends, if they've got any technical issues, do come to me for help with their technical IT problems. So I always ask Glenn for help with fixing computers. Glenn knows a lot about keeping my computer safe and working well. You can always ask Glenn to fix my computer and show me how to do it so that I can learn myself. So those are some quite good examples. So ask yourself the question, what do people ask you? So Hassan, I always ask Hassan for help with. What is it, Hassan? Hassan knows a lot about. What is that? You can always ask Hassan too. Again, same as Sarah. I always ask Sarah for help with. Sarah knows a lot about, and you can always ask Sarah too. This is how we can start to build a picture of ourselves. Have this discussion with your friends and your family and your colleagues. Maybe do it for them as well. Maybe they're just in the same situation as you, they need a bit of help. So run this exercise between the both of you. Give each other some feedback. Now, to give you some workable examples, we've got a few of these up on the screen. So do you remember? So I was asked Glenn for help with being creative. Glenn knows a lot about motivating others. Hopefully that one's true. You can always ask Glenn to put structures in place. You can always ask Glenn to solve a problem. See how this can work. So again, take some notes or take a picture of the screen maybe, and start to think about the things that people come to you for. These are important concepts for you to start to consider. Okay, let's have a look, because I can see that Sarah is putting in some examples. So writing and proofreading. So you can always ask Sarah for help with writing. Sarah knows a lot about proofreading. Superb. Excellent. So again, we know now what are our go-to skills. So start to work these out for yourself as well, and you will start to feel a really great benefit. Oh, there we go. You can always ask Sarah to manage your projects, because she's a great project manager as well. So we start to identify our skills and our strengths. So again, please do pop some of your examples into chat as well. Again, while you do that, while you take a few notes, while you think about this, reflect on it a little bit, we are going to move into the next pause for questions. I've just literally scrolled down my screen accidentally without doing that. There we go, got it back. So let's move now into the next pause for questions for a moment, just while we reflect and collect ourselves. So we got a question that's come in from Hassan. Thanks, Hassan. So how do you overcome the issue of comparing your abilities to others, or at least make it a healthy motivation? Okay, Hassan, you're coming up with some good questions today. That is an excellent question. It goes back to being objective in some sense, I think. And Also, but being kind to yourself. I think one of the things that we as human beings can do sometimes is not be as kind to ourselves as we possibly could or should be. We need to be as objective as we can. We have good days, we have bad days, but we need to keep ourselves in good sight, as balanced as we possibly can over the ups and over the downs. And that will then help us when we do have a bit of spare time to pursue some of our goals, to be there and ready. You learn new things all of the time, exactly that. So comparing your abilities, not everyone's got the same skills, the same strengths, and so therefore we need to remember we're all individuals working to our own set of goals. And I think again on that basis, whatever we see other people wanting, we might not want those things ourselves. So in some respects, they might not be particularly relevant to us. But what we like, what we enjoy, as we're running through with some of these exercises, is extremely relevant to us. And those are the things that we focus on. It's not a case of being better or worse than anybody else. It's about just trying to identify the things that keep us happy, the things that bring up our fulfillment. So I hope that that answers your question to a degree. Again, it's mindset. It could come down to giving ourselves some positive assertions every day. You know, my name's Glenn and I'm really good at. My name's Glenn and I really enjoy. My name's Glenn and I really value doing. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself good things. Tell yourself positive things about yourself that will help you get through that day. Sometimes we don't get as much recognition as we might need or deserve. So we can help ourselves with that. I know I did a really good job yesterday, and I'm going to tell myself that because unfortunately other people missed it. But I still know the value of what I did. So be very, very positive with yourself as best as you possibly can be. So Hassan, I hope that helps. Now, Madhup, how to maintain that discipline to show up daily while learning something new? Yeah, again, discipline. You have to be strong. You have to value the end goal. You have to be clear on what your end goal is, Madhup. And therefore, again, it's keeping that in perspective, keeping it in focus. Visual representations, maybe putting your end goal as the screensaver on your phone, so that every time you pick up your phone, you're seeing that positive thing that you're working towards, and you get a reminder. Okay, I was gonna just sit around and really not do much later on. I was going to chill out for a while, but actually I'm going to spend 2 hours following up on that course that I'm doing. You need to give yourself as many positive affirmations as you possibly can. Hassan, thank you so much as well. Thank you for asking the question. These are really testing questions because we're all individuals and we all have our individual ups and downs, but we're the only ones that can really control those as best that we can. And we always need to paint ourselves a positive picture for the future, a positive picture of what it is that we would like to achieve. So again, I hope I've answered your question there, Madhup, as well. You know, maintaining that discipline is perhaps visual reminders, perhaps audio reminders, perhaps it's talking to your family or friends and letting them know what you're trying to do so that they can again help to motivate you and give you some encouragement. Talk to the people around you and start positive conversations. Keeping motivated, you know, it can be hard at times, but there is, you know, sometimes we're going to have potentially not as good days. That's fine, because remember, tomorrow when we wake up, we're going to wake up positively and we're going to make another step. We're going to take another step forward. I think that's really, really important, you know, that we are all capable of doing that, and we don't want to let the not so good days bog us down. They happen, but they're part of a bigger, more positive whole. You know, that's easy for me to say. I'm sure a lot of you are saying, but it's a philosophy for life. I have not so good days too. You question yourself, you question your abilities, but then you've got to think, it's okay. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to systematically work towards the thing that I want. So again, I hope that helps. And let's move into the final section of this webinar now. So we've looked at something we're good at, we looked at something that we enjoy as well, and we've linked those two parts up together. Now the third part, the crucial element of what we were looking at, is now also going to be something that people value. So we've got a couple of stories that we'd like to share, again, in terms of inspiration and that it can be done. These are true stories. These are absolutely 100% genuine. So Abigail's story, you can see she worked in technology, so she worked in tech, but she changed her career to focus on baking cakes. Abby's Pantry started in London and has now moved to Edinburgh. Why did she do that? She started to do that because when she was in her tech role, she used to bake cakes. It was one of her favourite hobbies. So she used to bring cakes in for her colleagues, who soon were saying to her, "Can you bake one of these for me? Can you make more of these for me?" And suddenly she thought, perhaps I could do this for a living. It can be as simple as that. Her story is a classic case of knowing that you enjoy doing something, finding that you're good at it because she was getting amazing feedback, and then turning it from a hobby into something that made her a living. She now makes a very good living from baking cakes. So that's a massive move from the tech industry to baking cakes. Again, she followed her dreams, she gave it a go. Now we've got another example on the next slide as well, which is about Claire and Rachel. Now all of these case studies we're looking at also visited Google Digital Garage and made good use of the facilities. So again, they used the online training, they took some of those courses. So, we have had physical Google Digital Garages pop up around the country in the UK every now and again, and these are examples of people that have come in. So they set up a website. To give you their background, actually, Claire was a barrister, so she was working in law. Rachel was a sonographer, so she worked in health, like those are to do with ultrasound scans. They decided, after going on a Start Your Own Business course, there are Start Your Own Businesses courses going on, so look them up online, that they set up a How Do I Do? Now that is a directory to help people of all different sexual orientations to find wedding suppliers and wedding planners. They identified a gap in the industry overall. They wanted to do a good job. They wanted to help people who were finding it difficult to find that perfect wedding venue, and to just be treated equally. They helped people to achieve that. So again, a massive, massive jump from working in law and working in health. Now they attended a Google Digital Garage one-to-one session, so they had that valuable one-to-one time. They also looked at a couple of other modules, and that's why I mentioned it too, because they looked at how to digital market themselves and their businesses. They did writing for social media, which is a fantastic course, which is available on the Google Digital Garage site. That's g.co/digital garage. And then they also looked at digital marketing sessions as well. So they really did research, they really did try to move themselves along very, very quickly indeed. And that led to success. So now they have a directory of wedding suppliers and wedding planners for all types of couples. So again, a really fulfilling thing for them to have done. Now, Shaquille was made redundant from his role. He worked in HR, and he has now turned that into an opportunity by becoming self-employed. He started up his own hashtag on LinkedIn, and he's grown his network and the connections that he's got on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is fantastic, by the way, for networking and building a professional network. So if you haven't got a LinkedIn profile, maybe think about getting one. So he's gone from 200 to 1,500 LinkedIn connections, and he's doing really, really well. He loves doing HR, so working with people, communicating and helping them get past their problems, but also helping organisations stay legal and staying within the boundaries that they need to, because they employ people. Sounds like a really, really good job. I've done a bit of HR in my time, and it is a very fulfilling role. So he took getting made redundant and wondering what to do next into just doing it for himself rather than working for a company. So another great example of a success story. So now it's a really good time to start to think, who's going to value what you're good at and what you enjoy? So again, note this down, put this on your piece of paper. Which job or profession will the skills, the things that I've identified, the things that I enjoy, the things that I'm good at, whereabouts, where's the market for those things? Which job or profession would those things best fall into? Ask yourself the question, start to think about what particular field or industry uses the skills and the strengths that I've got or that I'm building that I would like to move into. Which businesses? Again, you can go on things like LinkedIn, or you can simply do, a Google search. and look for businesses that if it was Abby from our example, she might be looking at who or which types of businesses perhaps buying cakes or enjoy cakes or give cakes to their staff as an incentive or as a motivation. She could look at which businesses would be useful in terms of maybe making wholesale cakes. And then what's the value? What is the value of what I'm doing? Now, cakes make people happy. Cakes are really, really tasty. Cakes are things that we often send perhaps out as gifts. They're one of those easy things, a bit like flowers maybe. Think about the types of people that are going to appreciate the product or the service that you have. Then you can start to identify those people, those businesses, and perhaps you could then start to approach them based on the skills, the strengths, and the role that you might be building for yourself. Now, one of the questions that we do get a lot of is how do we actually, if we've not got a massive amount of experience or previous roles or experience in the thing that we want to do, how can we show on our CVs that we're building that? So if you have a look on the screen here now as well, there are some really valuable ways. Now, you might have to take a bit of time out or contribute a bit of your time maybe to volunteer roles, but you can get some amazing experience. There's 3 links there that are important. So we've got Do It, which is a great platform to connect with volunteer opportunities, again mainly for the UK this one, and also for remote volunteering, again based on the lockdown impact. There are now remote volunteering opportunities available too. Now, the value of that is that it shows your future employer that you're working towards something, that you're willing to give up a bit of your time, and that you are working hard to achieve the skills that are needed for that particular role that you might be looking to achieve or to build yourself up to. Charity job, again, exactly the same type of concept. Volunteering opportunities and vocational work helps you to be able to reflect on your CV or on your LinkedIn profile, which is the 3rd link there, the valuable experience that you're getting, and let people know that you are doing this, that you have a vocation, that you're working towards something. Put it on your profiles. You can also look for these types of opportunities by simply putting a job that you're after into a Google search as well. You never know what might come up. And it's also interesting to see what's out there. One of the things about the tech age and the IT industry is that there are so many roles that exist now that didn't exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Maybe one of those types of roles is something for you. Maybe you're technically minded too, and you never thought there'd be a job that would be able to pay you for what you do. It could well be out there. Just look up the types of jobs that you're really, really interested in, and you could be surprised that skilled hobby that you've got, that thing that you do, that thing that you volunteer to do, that thing that you do for a club or an organisation could be taken forward and be used as in a specific role. So setting steps to reach your goal, we all need goals and we need steps to do that. So hopefully what you've seen today is going to motivate you some. So today I'm going to look up some roles on Google search, or I'm going to investigate the career opportunities that are out there based on what I like and enjoy. Next week I'm going to contact a training provider to up my skills for a particular area that I'm interested in pursuing. This month I will have signed up to a training course and contacted a few employers to see if they have any low-level or internship opportunities. This year I will have applied for 10 roles in this new area. I will have taken a training course to help develop my skills. I will have spoken to my network to see if they have any opportunities available for me. Set yourself some goals, set yourself some objectives, and then measure yourself to see how far along you've got. And again, maybe that will help you stick to them with that discipline that we were talking about earlier on as well. So we're going to come into the final pause for questions now. I hope that this information is proving useful to you. Again, there's a lot of things potentially out there for us. We do have to make an effort. We are going to have to work pretty hard at times to develop those skills and to become competent. Remember that Dunning-Kruger curve, where we become an expert from becoming, from being a complete beginner, and then we match our confidence levels with our competence levels, and thus we get really, really good. We know it, and then our skills become sellable to a potential employer, sellable to the public, sellable to a consumer or a customer. So let's have a look now to see if there are any final questions. So Manushi, how to find confidence in changing careers. Stepping out of the comfort zone is not easy with our bonds and other responsibilities. Any advice or view? Okay, I mean, that's beautifully put, and you're absolutely right. Stepping out of our comfort zone. Everything we're talking about today is in some respects going to need you to step out of your comfort zone. It's going to need you to take a risk, but take a measured risk. Sometimes we want things right now, but sometimes we might also need to respect and understand that things might take a bit of time. But if they're worthy, if they're of value to us, then they may well be worth working towards. I always think that's an important thing. Be realistic about your goals and objectives and the fact they might take you a bit of time. We might want to change jobs now, but if we haven't got the skills that we need to move into that other area, then we're going to have to find them, we're going to have to work on them, and we're going to have to master them to some respects as well. That can take time, so don't let the time thing drag you down either. Be realistic. Understand that, as we saw on the previous slide, which I'm going to go back to, we can only achieve so much in a week. We can only achieve so much in a month. We can only really achieve so much in a year. So be kind to yourself and try and keep your expectations as realistic. You can also, if you are looking to understand how long it gets to be trained in a particular area, or to go from being pretty good or average at something to becoming an expert, go online, research. How long did it take me to become an expert in digital marketing? How long did it take me to become an expert in project management? How long did it take me to become an expert in fixing computers? There is so much information online. There are very, very, very likely going to be answers to those types of questions too. Again, it's going to be different for everybody, but it might give you a bit of a gauge as to what you're looking at and the type of dedication you need to apply and the time and effort that you're going to need to put in. I can just see a comment from Sarah there. You all sound very motivated. I am glad if that is the outcome of this session this afternoon. We are now coming right up to the end of the session. If you do have any last questions, now's your time to absolutely pop them in. But I think in summary, the key things here to remember are, hopefully you've taken notes. Hopefully you will also remember that this session is available for the next 24 hours. So if you need to revisit any of the concepts that we've been talking about, or just copy down that list of 8 phrases and words in terms of things that we enjoy or our fulfillment. If you need to come back and do any of it again, copy down the diagrams. Maybe the diagrams make more sense now we've worked all the way through them. If you need to do any of that, you've got the next 24 hours or so to do it. I really can see some value in doing a lot of these exercises with a friend, with a colleague, with a family member, where you can work together. So you can say, what is it that you think I'm good at? Oh, and by the way, the things that I think you're good at are. So make it into an exercise that you can sit down with somebody. You're both going to benefit from it. And again, it might make the whole exercise a lot easier in the long run. I can see, I think from Nidhi Colour there, I think I've narrowed my choices down to 2 from none. Thank you for this. Pleasure. Good. You've done the hard work because you're the one that's had to do the thinking and you're the one that's had to be thinking about your skills and strengths. So well done, and I hope that there's more and more good things to come for everybody. So we've covered our next steps. We know what we're going to do. We're going to think about it. I would say to go on to the Build a CV and Cover Letter and Building a Personal Brand, which are on the Google Digital Garage site, g.co/Digital Garage. And then also consider and look to see if you're eligible for any of these career certificates. So these are courses in IT support, project management, data analytics and UX design. They're available in the UK at goo.gle/career search UK. So go and have a look, use that link, which I'm sure Sarah's going to be sharing, and see if you're eligible. So that leaves me just to say thank you very much indeed. We'd love to have your feedback today. That's goo.gle/digital garage feedback. And again, Sarah's going to share the link for you for that in the chat. And if you're on social media and you found anything useful today, say what's helped you. Let other people know the tips that you've encountered, and hashtag it Digital Garage, and then other people will see some of the benefits that these types of sessions can bring. This leaves me to say thank you so much. I've really enjoyed, I love this session because it really can, if you think about it, help you to grow and develop. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic evening or rest of day, depending on wherever you are, and hope to see you again soon on another Google Digital Garage webinar. So thanks a lot and goodbye.